Hello guys, it's Monday, June 27th, and let's start the market forecast. So this week is promising to be busy, from crucial US to EU data publications. So without further ado, let's start with the macro calendar. So on Monday we have core durable goods orders and pending home sales from the US, and still on Monday we will have a first speech of Mrs. Lagarde, the ECB chief, from a conference from Sintra in Portugal, where we might get some information about new tools that ECB wants to use in future to prevent fragmentation, and maybe even some more info about upcoming interest rate hikes. So far, the first one is scheduled to take place in June, and it will be an increase by 25 basis points, which basically will be still in negative territory. The current rate is minus 0.5%. Okay, next on Tuesday we will start again from Mrs. Lagarde in the morning, because basically the forum starts on Tuesday. Apart from ECB chief speech, we will have two more interesting topics. One from Mr. Elderson about energy price volatility and energy sources in Europe, and a second from Mr. Pablo Panetta about Euro digital currency project. So I think these two might give us some more insight of what, at least more or less, is Europe planning in terms of energy supply and how the digital Euro project is developing. So still on Tuesday we will get the conference board consumer confidence indicator from the US, of course. And so next is Wednesday, and in the morning we will have a retail sales from Japan and Australia, then the third reading of the Q1 US GDP. So this one we already know, and most likely it will not be changed significantly, if any at all, but if it does, it will have a heavy impact on quotes, especially equities, since if later we will get another contraction of GDP for second quarter, this will basically mean we are in a recession. But if not, it will mean that it is a false alarm and all is good in terms of future growth. So going further, still on Wednesday we will get a Fed Jerome Powell speech or discussion with the Fed's chief on ECB's forum in Portugal, along with another speech of Mrs. Lagarde. Finally, we will also get the data about crude oil inventories, which will naturally affect the Brent and WTI prices. Then the most packed days are at the end of the week. Thursday will start with the data from China about manufacturing PMIs, which will show us the perspective for China's production sector. Then we will get the GDP data from the UK, and then next is Germany unemployment, then the OPEC meeting, in which we might get some new information on how underperforming countries are producing after seasonal maintenance. So now we know that mostly Russia and a couple other countries like Nigeria are behind the schedule in terms of production, and that they have time till December to produce the lacking amount of oil. So the information will be very crucial for oil prices. So we know from a previous report that OPEC countries are 2.8 million barrels per day behind the schedule, and that was very visible in oil quotes. So now the price went down a bit. It seems like more oil reached the market, but we should wait for the official report. So the next data is one of the most important during that week. I'm talking about PCE data from the US, which is basically another measure for inflation. It differs from CPI a bit because CPI tells us how the prices are changing in the urban area, and PCE takes the perspective from all households and non-profit organizations, not only urban areas. So if the reading will show the continuation of a decline, it will mean that the situation with inflation is most likely starting to stabilize, which will of course be bullish for equities. Still on Thursday we will get a GDP data from Canada. And lastly, on Friday we will get Tenkan indexes concerning manufacturing from Japan, then manufacturing PMIs from Germany, UK, Eurozone and US. And then cherry on top is a preliminary CPI data from the Eurozone. And this Friday is an exception because it is the first Friday of the month, but the NFPs will be published next week. And so that will be all as for the macro calendar and brief discussion what can happen and on what we should pay attention. Now let's discuss some possible scenarios for trading. Firstly, quick summary of previous ideas. The Euro CHF went down, which means it went through my stop loss. This idea didn't work out. And then we get the oil trade. The price retested the previous resistance, not the one I thought it will, but still there was time to react and the overall plan was correct. As well as with the Euro USD, if someone is using a strict risk-reward ratio, could make a profit on this one as well. Rest of the trades, which are Nvidia, gold and silver, are still in game, although it was a close call, not gonna lie. So then next I need to talk about Bitcoin. Guys, to be honest, right now it is very tough to digest where the price will go in the short term, but one is for certain, it is again the best opportunity to accumulate. I think after some consolidation again here, we might possibly go even lower. So there it is. If you were mad previously because you didn't buy BTC when it was cheap, now it is the best time. If you go lower, then it is even better because the more you can buy with the same money. I'll give you an example. Goldman Sachs is one of the biggest investment banks in the world and is now buying crypto distressed assets. Maybe you heard about the Celsius project, how recently on June 12th they blocked withdrawals from their platform due to most likely lack of liquidity. So there is no time in this video to talk more about it, but you need to know that right now the CeFi, the centralized finance, are buying cheap distressed assets, and that is the approach you should have too. So going further, now maybe let's check Brent oil again. Right now we are testing the resistance, which was previously the support. We made a clear rejection candle with a long wick. On top of that, the overbalance method might work here. After changing the trend to downward, this was the biggest correction. Right now we are again testing this range. And if we stay at this level through Monday, I would be looking for a short opportunity. If we go higher and break the resistance, then of course the long will be the option. But I'm more focused towards the short option here. So remember to watch out prior to the OPEC meeting and inventories data on Wednesday, and maybe reduce the size of the trades or cash the profits if they are near the take profit levels. Last one will be Euro AUD. We are here on a very important level. Right now we are testing this resistance. Most likely if we get weak manufacturing data from key production hubs like Germany, the Australian currency could continue to weaken since it is heavily dependent on export of raw materials. So a continuation in that trend will most likely lessen the demand for this currency, and therefore quotation of Euro AUD will go up, because naturally it will mean that the euro will get stronger against the AUD. Okay, that is all for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye guys.